Hello indie game fans, ever since Pokemon entered my life, I've been a fan of the monster taming genre since I simply enjoy looking at the variety and creativity of the monster designs, so here are 20 such upcoming games. I do have a couple more in my pocket, but those are not quite ready to be shown, so stay tuned for more, but we shall begin with the not so indie DoKev. This is from Korean developer Pearl Abyss, best known for the insanely detailed MMO Black Desert Online, and is a monster taming MMO RPG which simply looks wonderful. In a space that is traditionally dominated by their Japanese counterparts, a Korean take on this could be neat, with the introduction of elements from their culture and mythology into the monster designs. Little bit of a Splatoon vibe in how the trailer is presented, with the monsters, called DoKev, being powered by the dreams of humans. One thing though is that this trailer does not show off any gameplay, and given that it is an MMO, I'm not quite sure how combat would work either. Regardless, pretty excited about this, if just to look at the wonderful monster designs, most of which seem to be animal based in some form, with me spotting a rabbit, bear, wolf, duck and more. Alright, so this one toes the line a little, but Pokemon Edelweiss is a Twitter account that popped up a little while back and basically answers the question, what if the Pokemon franchise continued in the pixel art direction? And me being me, a fan of pixel art, I'm all in for this. This is a very impressive looking fan game with a tremendous amount of detail in the environment, from Pokemon milling about town doing work, hanging around in the environment and trees, sitting at the table and having a snack with the trainer, and so on. The environments in this are absolutely gorgeous, with more detail being added into the combat screen as well. This creator has some ideas of their own with regards to Pokemon design, both with new royal variants and cosmetic variants on existing Pokemon, so it sure seems pretty neat. There are some work-in-progress GIFs of the game in motion, so for more updates, do follow the Twitter account linked below. I really love the look of this game, and one can only hope that perhaps someone at Nintendo will see this and not DMCA the game, but rather hire the creator to make this wonderful looking title. I did cover Monster Crown in my last video, but it is still not out, although beta keys are beginning to get released. A monster taming game with true crossbreeds, this developer did point out the perfect synergy crowned monsters in a quick video on YouTube, which looks like a neat addition, so still looking forward to this. Since I last covered Re-Legend, this developer has been busy at work patching the game, although unfortunately, it currently sits at a mostly negative rating on Steam. This is a monster taming farming sim mashup where you wash up ashore an island and need to find a way to recover your lost memories. Naturally, you are given a plot of land to grow crops and can tame and befriend mythical creatures known as Magnus to aid you along the way, with some simple action-adventure style combat. There's fishing, farming, crafting, and so on, with some interesting systems to fiddle around with. However, what the developer seems to be doing is to keep adding new Magnus, which, don't get me wrong, are probably the main attraction here, so I can see why they would want to do that. However, the main complaint from players is that it is still pretty buggy, with developers not being transparent on the bug fixing process. Being in early access, there's plenty of room for improvement, so I'm still holding out hope that it will get there someday.
World Premiere.
Now for something that's a little bit of a trip, since Druggyemon, obviously, is a monster taming game with a focus on psychedelics and looks made, perhaps, for a very specific subculture. There will be over 200 Druggyemons to collect and battle, with non-conventional types to experiment with, including Biotic, Scientific, Evil, Holy, Crystal, Placebo, Powder, and Smoke. Go on a quest to defeat the 16 religious leaders to collect the emblems, after which you can seek out divine Druggyemons and challenge the 7 Ascended Masters. This is still rather early in development, but the theme and concept do seem quite unique to me. Another returning entry is the long-in-development Battle Gem Ponies, basically off-brand My Little Pony monster taming RPG. As always, the highlights are the creature designs, with there being 18 types of elements, which, in addition to the conventional fire, plant, ice, and air, also includes Chaos, Magic, Esper, and Ki. Big fan of the pixel art in this, with about 60 types of ponies to capture. Random encounters are also visible, with a reduced emphasis on grinding, so some pleasant quality of life changes. Collect badges by defeating the expert trainers, and fight against the evil Paragon Cartel in this adventure, which does follow the Pokemon script rather closely. This one's a little bit of a deviation since Mons is a monster-based trading card game, so not exactly a monster tamer, but nonetheless has some pretty cool designs. This seems to be a competitive CCG with two opposing players trying to defeat the same raid boss in order to reap the benefits. A little bit of Magic the Gathering in this, with regards to how the creature cards are presented, and with over 30 bosses, 100 regular cards, deck enhancing powers, loot, guilds, ranked play, global chat and more, this should be a pretty good one as well. Another returning entry is Rainbow Billy the Curse of the Leviathan, a monster taming RPG with some action-adventure exploration elements. The Leviathan has emerged from the depths of the ocean and plunged the world into monochromatic chaos, so it is up to Billy to restore colour to the land. Graphically, it uses the rubber hose animations of 1930s cartoons, much like Cuphead, with the use of colour as a central mechanic. This is always pretty neat in games, since you can slowly see the restoration of vibrancy to the world, which is super cool. And there are fishing mechanics with a variety of animal friends to use in turn-based combat. Waiting to see more details with regards to the monster taming aspect, whether these can evolve or how team composition affects your strategy, but I do love the art, so looking forward to this. Terraform is quite a traditional looking monster taming RPG which was unsuccessful in its Kickstarter campaign, but fingers crossed it will get revived. One huge early access title is Temtem. This launched to a resounding success in January, but the servers got completely slammed, which is a great indication of the community's desire for a good Pokemon-like MMO. While essentially Pokemon, but you apply a thesaurus to all the terms, there are some clever tweaks to the battle system that makes it more strategic, forcing 2v2 combat in all instances. The world is massive, with interesting locales, with the usual gym leader setup as the main draw. Quality of life things like player appearance customization and player housing should get there eventually, with the developers adding better matchmaking, clubs or guild management, more monsters, more exploration abilities, and even mythical Temtem to come later this year. So far so good and only looks to get better, so do support this if you want a credible alternative to Pokemon and to spur Game Freak on to do even better. This video is brought to you by my dear patrons and YouTube channel members across all tiers, so a quick shout out and a huge thank you goes to Adolfo Barth, Aidan Hanlon, L.E., Alessio Spark, Alex Elbrecht, Andrew O'Neill, Ben Coops, C Game Theory, Dansaga, Esco Sevilla, Finn, Frederick Hill, Gaming Dreamer, Great Shield, Caroline Kraut, Kenny Ryan, Kim Saumalanian, Marcel Faust, Mika Lensman, Michael Hartle, Nguyen Phok Tan, Rescue Squad Cope, RFF, Russell Elderton, Tamara Shambri, Tim, Tony D, Unique Utilities, Ulio Troyo, Vermint and your own skills. With my apologies if I messed up any of the pronunciations. If you're not a member, do chip in via the links below if you can, otherwise continue to enjoy the free content. Speaking of which, back to the video. I saw the developer posting about this game on social media and reached out to get a trailer to show this title off to you. since Ova Magica is a monster taming farming sim like Legend above, but with a focus on slimes instead. It is super cute, reminding me, of course, of Slime Rancher, but this has a more overt turn-based Pokemon-style combat system. I'm always down for more farming games, with this even having some elements of Stardew Valley as well, since there are multiple seasons, town events, villages, and so on. There's bug catching, fishing, foraging for fruit, and even exploration and dungeons, so a little bit of that Rune Factory influence as well. Still a little early in development, with a Kickstarter set to launch in a couple of months, so do follow the Twitter account for updates or stay tuned to this channel and I'll let you know when it's ready. Ever since I became aware of Patch Quest, the self-titled monster riding roguelite, I've been keeping an eye on it since it combines two of my favourite subgenres. Explore the long-lost island of Patchlantis as a member of the Explorers Guild, and among the treasure and dangers are a variety of dangerous monsters.
Ready?
However, there is a very interesting lasso mechanic where you get to wrangle these, which, if successful, allows you to ride these creatures and to use their powers from boars, lizards, turtles, starfish, and more. There's even a base building aspect that allows you to decorate your home camp, and while this has been in active development, this developer has been putting out quite a number of developer video logs on YouTube, which are pretty interesting to go through. This is planned for release on Steam sometime in 2020, but the store page is not up yet, so keeping a close eye on this as well. The overpoweringly adorable Ooblets got a new trailer during the Wholesome Direct, which showed off even more of the cute and cuddly critters. This is a monster taming, farming life sim title, more about living and existing in the world rather than the pursuit of badges and defeating your foes. Grow the little critters in your garden and have them face off in dance-offs. The player customization and player housing aspects are pretty neat, with a wholeheartedly whimsical vibe. This should be releasing in early access pretty soon, and I'm curious about the overall structure of the game. Alright, this is a big one since Kindred Fates, previously known as Kindred, had a successful Kickstarter campaign since we last saw it, raising a whopping $685,000 with a projected release date which is admittedly quite far away in June 2023. However, this seems to be taking the Pokemon MMO concept of Temtem and blowing it up even more with a true open world structure and freeform action-adventure RPG combat. This looks to take the genre in a more mature direction, which does get dark, since there is a mysterious fog with horrible monsters living in it, and you need to find out what is the cause of this, on top of the usual gym leaders to battle. Some main changes to highlight are that the monsters or kinfolk are completely sentient and have their own society, where your partner kinfolk chooses to accompany you through the power of your bond. The traversal and exploration looks awesome, with the ability to ride the kinfolk on land, in the air, and on water. Also seen in the trailer is that your kinfolk, if fallen in battle, are reduced to a small blue flame, and while you can go on a corpse run, so to speak, if you do not get there in time, they will permanently die and be memorialized in the village back home. Extremely ambitious and still in an early state, we'll see what happens with this one in the months to come. One thing that you guys may not be aware of is that Monster Sanctuary, previously covered and currently in early access, did have a major graphical overhaul in the months since launch, with changes made to both the player character and the creatures for the better in my opinion. This is the Monster Taming Metroidvania, which has been excellent so far, where you need to uncover the source of conflict between humans and monsters, and to save the eponymous Monster Sanctuary. The various creatures have Metroidvania-style abilities, such as breaking through walls, flight, and so on, which is combined with 3v3 turn-based combat. A nice variety of creatures, individual skill trees and synergies makes the combat pretty tactical and interesting, and another example of one which just keeps getting better in early access. The Siralim series began way back in 2015 and were very Dragon Warrior monsters-like in design, combined with the procedural generation of levels, which resulted in near-infinite replayability. Siralim Ultimate is the next upcoming entry and had a successful Kickstarter campaign which just concluded. Rather than being a direct sequel, there's no need to have played the previous games, but the Ultimate version seems to have taken all the lessons that they have learned from the first three and combined it into an experience of its own. Some highlights include over 1,000 unique monsters, a player castle to upgrade and customize, and a central story that has you gathering monsters and allies to prevent the invasion of your kingdom by your neighbor. Combat is 6v6 with artifacts, spell gems, perks, breeding, and so on for the monsters. The pitch with this series has always been the near infinite amount of replayability, of which is also present here with hefty post-story content, and best of all, this has a late 2020 release window, so maybe we'll get to play it this year. Another title which I'm very much looking forward to is Creature Keeper, a Zelda-style action-adventure game with monster taming elements. Tame and befriend creatures by feeding them their favorite food, after which they will follow you around and participate in combat. There are bats, skeletons, bees, wolves, frogs, and more, with an in-depth bestiary to fill out as you get to know these creatures better. On top of combat, there is a farming system with something called a pocket garden where you can grow plants on the go, and even a cooking system to prepare your creatures' favorite meals to improve your bond. Inspirations cited include Rune Factory, Diablo, Path of Exile and Ragnarok Online, where I'm a fan of all of these games, so it certainly seems suited to my taste and hopefully yours as well. This was successfully kickstarted last year, with less than a year to go until the planned release. This developer has been posting updates on Twitter and Kickstarter with regards to the game, so certainly signs of life, but one of the best looking and most promising games in the monster taming space. Nexomon was a monster taming RPG which is quite classically Pokemon in design, but following the release of the Steam port, this developer has gone ahead to announce Nexomon Extinction as an upcoming title. This has over 300 Nexomons to capture, but has quite a stereotypical structure that has you leaving your orphanage, choosing a partner and going on an adventure. One thing is that Tyrant Nexomon are more of a prominent feature, but it looks good and cannot wait to play. One of the best looking upcoming monster taming games, of course, is the long in development Coromon. Checking in again with this title reveals even more monster designs that the developers are showing off on Twitter, but the most exciting part has to be that they released a playable demo in January this year, meaning that things are really shaping up, so hopefully it gets released soon. I love the pixel art of this game, especially in the battlefields, and like Pokemon Edelweiss above, is another what if scenario should Pokemon have chosen to continue in that pixel art direction. Like Nexomon, pretty classic in story and combat, where you play as a young employee of the technologically advanced organization named Lux Solace and need to hunt down the 6 titans who will prove to be the ultimate test. With over 120 Coromon to encounter, all of which are fully animated, this does look like quite the package. And the main reason why I decided to make this video is the recent announcement of Cassette Beasts, a monster taming RPG where our heroes are able to transform into fusion monsters Digimon style. One part Coromon and one part Monster Crown, I'm a fan of the visuals of this title, with some bright, beautiful colours and awesome designs. Of course, the fusion parts of this should be pretty cool, and I wonder how many possible combinations there are. For being something innovative and exciting, this takes the #1 spot. To see more of the big picture, check out these awesome videos, and I will see you after the jump.